Hello, my name is Ashley Basham, and I'm going to be talking to you about moral and developments and social forces. This is based off of the video that was presented to us by Dr. Miller for Unit 5. The first thing we're going to talk about is the stages of moral development. I'm going to briefly go over the 7 stages of moral development. Why it started with a 0, I don't know, but there's 7 stages. The first stage is no sense of guilt or remorse. I wouldn't say this would be a young characteristic of somebody, but this is a characteristic that we all kind of go through. Maybe whenever we're infants and we don't even remember. Some of them never grow out of that stage. It's just a stage where you do something like jump off of a bridge and not care. You get in a car accident and you have no sense of, is anybody else okay? You care about yourself and yourself only, and honestly, you could go out and commit heinous crimes and not care about the repercussions, and you'll go out and do it again. This is not a very common sense. Not very many people show these traits. Remorse is something that I think almost everybody has, even a hint of, and there are very few and far between people who don't. The next stage is punishment and obedience. This stage is a peculiar stage because it's almost like it's playing mind tricks on you, because this stage really enforces that, you're scared to break the rules. It's like the rules, it's like you have to follow the rules, you can't break the rules. If you break the rules, then something bad's going to happen. So this stage is a very mind tricky stage to where it makes you think that if you do anything wrong, there's going to be punishment. And I think this is a stage we've all experienced, especially when growing up and trying to please our parents, or growing up and learning that, hey, don't touch the stove, it might be hot. Kind of this curiosity stage in people, and knowing that there's going to be punishment, and almost fearing of the punishment if you do something wrong. The next stage is stage 3, which is the good boy, nice girl orientation. In this stage, I actually used to see a lot in one of my old school districts I worked at, and the fear of letting somebody down is just astronomical. They want to make sure they do good. They want to make sure that they are like the teacher's pet. They're the best students they can be. A honor roll, doing good, getting all the good grades, getting all the, pats on the back. They want that reward. They want to feel like they're doing something good, and they want to feel like they are, in a sense, this idealist child, that they can do no wrong, they're perfect. They want to feel that. They want to feel that, I'm really good, I'm a teacher's pet, everybody looks to me, everybody looks up to me, sort of sense of mentality. Stage 4 is kind of the most common stage I think I see on whenever reviewing the different stages and looking back on my own personal experience. Stage 4 is more the most common kind of stage I think you would see, and this is just recent, just wanting to follow the rules. It's like our government system, you have rules, you follow the rules, you obey the rules, clear cut and simple. That's pretty much an idealistic idea of the world today, and any company you go to today. Doctors have this code that you have to follow. Those are the rules, those are the codes you follow. Teachers are the same way. We have our teacher codes, whether they're written or unwritten. We have our codes that we follow for the best of our students. The next one is stage 5, and this is more on a larger scale. This you'll see more higher up in like the government standpoint. And it's, it consists of large groups, and they're very, I'm looking for a word. It's more of like a social orientation. Like, you want to do good to the community, with the community. You're not really in any danger. It's like going out and helping your food pantry, or it's going out and volunteering. This is kind of the stage where most people go to just be able to help one another, not on a large scale, not on something like astronomical. It's more of community-based, volunteer-based, something to help others out. Like, I know right now with everything going on, there's a lot of people that are invested in food pantries, the school food system, to get food out to the ones that need it, because we live in a rural community and our means of necessities and our means of groceries are not exactly bouncing back like you'd see in Dallas, because Dallas gets the, pick of the crop. They get the first truck and we kind of get the leftovers. So as a community, we have opened up more food pantries and more to help others out there. And Stage 5 is kind of more that environment, volunteer and community based. And Stage 6 is a universal principle, and this is something on a astronomical scale. This is something like my Dr. Miller mentioned Martin Luther King and what he did to help people. This stage is for people who have pure good in their heart. They are fully aware that if they go out and do something for the good of the people, that they might get injured in their life, everything they know is on the line, but they put that aside to help others because they want everyone to be okay. They don't want people to suffer. They want justice. They want the rules of the land to be followed. They want others to have well-being, safety, necessities, and so forth. And so that's kind of just an overview of what these stages are, and going through and kind of trying to put in perspective these stages on a local level. The next thing that was mentioned was social forces. Social forces, the main things, the 4 things you'll see with social forces are cultural, economics, historical, philosophical, and political circumstances. Now these 4 are kind of the big bubble of the social forces. You have the economy that drives the sociology, the economy. You have the historical. I don't know if you ever heard the term, if you don't listen to history, it will repeat itself. It's kind of the social, historical part of it, because we learn from what our ancestors did. And so as a society, we're not going to go back and make the same mistakes our ancestors did. We're going to learn from it, and we're going to better our society from what our ancestors did. From a philosophical point of view, it's more of just the knowing the impact of what the community has on each other, what we can do as a community to help and be as one. And then you have the political circumstances, which is your government. How does your government play into everything? How does your government support you? And how does your government almost blanket the community and protect and serve the community? And some examples of this are some examples that I think Dr. Miller mentioned more, but these are the ones that really stuck out to me, especially being a teacher, which is the demographics of school locations, because I live in a rural community. We have, without the college, we have roughly a population of 3,000 to 5,000. And it's, we live in such a small, tight-knit community. I can tell you probably the names of half my students. I could probably tell you their names of their parents. I probably even went to school with some of their parents or some of their older siblings. Now in Dallas, you don't get that. You might not know them as well as we do here in a smaller community. So the demographics of the social forces really plays a part on where are you located, and what is around you. We have fields, we don't have buildings. So whenever kids go outside, they go outside and they get their knees scraped in the grass. They go out and roll around in the dirt. It might not be the same if they were living in a city where all they have is a park. And the school resources. I used to work for a school that had tons of resources, latest and greatest technology, things I've never seen before. And then I moved to a rural school district that the resources were not there. So your resources that are in the school district really matter and really count. And then the parent interactions, I know parents are not in the school, they're not learning, but parents are almost as important as the students, because without their support, without their help, and without their children, getting their support, it's almost like the students are on their own. And the students never want to feel alone. That's the worst feeling to feel, is feeling alone. And having that parent support, even if they get a bad grade, just their parents saying it's okay, you can do better, would really move mountains with students' mental health. And student-teacher ratio. I grew up in a big school district for most of my life, and there was me, one student, to 30 other students to one teacher. And in some cases, especially the electives, like my PE class, my one PE teacher, yes, there was 3 PE teachers, but my one PE teacher had 40 students. And it was 40 students against one PE teacher plus 3 more. We had almost 100 kids in that gym. And it was only 3 PE teachers. There's no way we were getting interactions. But here out in rural areas, we have 20 students in the PE altogether. I've worked in the PE classrooms before, and I've had 8 students. And with 8 students, you can do a lot more. You can be a lot more interactive with your students and get to know your students better, unlike being in a huge group of people. And it's not a bad thing per se, but it is nice to get to know your students, because once you know your students, you can help them on a personal level, and you can help them to understand things better. And well, hey, Johnny can't read bigger words, so maybe if I help him sound out, or tell his English teacher to help sound out words, maybe that will help him. And they might not get that at a bigger school district with a larger student to teacher ratio. So for my school district, I know I've kind of already touched on this a little bit, but for moral development in my school district, we're definitely at a stage 4. Like I said, it's the most common, but you can see it clear cut and dry with my school district. We're at a stage 4 whenever it comes to moral development. We follow the rules are what they are, and we usually don't stray from the rules unless it is a dire circumstance. We focus on order. My school district has been through a lot the past 2 years, and so the order of the school is a big thing. Having a sense of community, having a sense of order is huge with my school district. And so the other thing is the social forces and the surroundings. And I talked a little bit about this before, but we are a rural school district. We don't have a lot of resources. Low man on the totem pole. We just got scientific calculators. We've been dealing with old school calculators since last year. This year was the first year we just got brand new textbooks, and we just got new calculators. And the textbooks I was using whenever I was teaching math last year, those books have been in the classroom for at least 10 to 15 years, and we just got new textbooks this year. Funny how we can't put them to use now, but next year will be nice to start using those new textbooks. And then parent involvement is, we live in a low socioeconomic town. More than likely, one of my students has at least 3 brothers and sisters, or at least 2 brothers and sisters. So the parent involvement's stretched very thin because they're worried about the other kids, or they've got to work. And I have so many times I've had an older sibling come in and say, I can't do my homework because I got to watch my kids. And that's understandable, because you got to help your parents out. But in the end, you're suffering because that parent involvement's not there. They're not coming home and reading to you. And you're basically the parent in the house. So how can you have parent involvement if you're the parent, but you're also the student? And then the student morality. We have a low student morality. Our students are defeated. They're done. By the time they get to 6th grade, they're done with school. They could care less. They would rather play with their friends. They don't have an interest in school. And so we as a community need to bring up the student morality. The community the school's almost separated from the community, and that's where we're losing a lot of our fight to help our students, because we're losing parent support, we're losing student morality, and that's something as a community we need to rebuild up. So You know, not every school district is perfect. I've worked in school districts where it's been great. I haven't had a lot of trouble. And I've worked in school districts like the one I'm working in now where it's a struggle. The main thing is whether you look at the moral or social forces, whether you look at any of this, the biggest thing is to look at your students, look at where they're located, look at their resource base, and how can you help them as a teacher. Because right now, we're doing all online schooling, and half of my students I know don't have internet access. And I'm wondering how they're getting their work done. And half of our students don't have a clean home to do Zoom meetings in. Their home is probably a train wreck because the parents are busy working and they're opening up their home to, they're letting people into their home of chaos, and that does something to somebody, that hurts with their mental state. And especially right now, it's hard. And you know, it's something like, you know, in Dallas, you know, everybody's got Zoom, everybody's got a laptop, everybody's got a computer, everybody's got internet. But here, half our kids don't have internet, half our kids don't have computer, half our kids live in, you know, trashy homes. It's just something that we got to work a little bit on as a teacher and help the students feel secure. And that's the main thing, is making the students feel like they're important. And I think that's kind of my conclusion on the video PowerPoint that was presented to us in Module 5. Have a good day.